Hello everyone, thank you for tuning into this video. My name's Miss V and I'd like to talk to you for a few minutes about how to manage the pressure of exams. The first thing to say is that it's very normal to feel nervous about exams. So if you're feeling like that, please believe that everyone around you who's also sitting exams will be feeling the same. The important thing is to learn how to manage those nerves so that they don't become overwhelming. I'm going to offer you 10 really brief tips today, and there's nothing particularly revolutionary here, but I hope that you'll take the advice of somebody who has sat a lot of exams and someone who has supported lots of students, hundreds of students, through sitting exams as well. So, number one, make sure, if you don't already, that you have a timetable for your revision. This is really important because it enables you to structure and to chunk up the revision that you have to do and to show yourself that you have time to fit in all the topics that you have to revise. As well as writing the subject in each slot on your revision timetable, I would also encourage you to write down the specific topic that you're going to revise within that subject. So you might have an English literature box, for instance, that has an inspector calls in it in particular, if that's a topic that you have to revise for your GCSE. So make sure that your revision timetable is specific. Make sure that you timetable in breaks. And I'm a big fan of planning what you're going to do in your breaks as well, so that you've got something to look forward to and ways of rewarding yourself. In terms of how long you should revise for in each of those slots, everybody's different, but I would suggest that any more than an hour is probably going to lead you to be unproductive. So up to an hour would be my advice, and then plan to do something really nice in a break. And maybe aim for between 3 and 5 revision slots in your day and having regular breaks in between. The second thing that I would say is make your revision fun. If it's boring, it's very likely that you will lose interest and you're not going to be taking anything in. You want to retain information, so make it as interesting and interactive for yourself as possible. Invent little games, create resources for yourself that you can use. If possible, get someone to test you, someone in your family maybe, or you could do something maybe over the phone, do some video calls to work with friends and revise things in pairs that way. Anything you can do to inject a little bit of energy and fun into your revision is likely to help you to be really productive. Thirdly, make sure that when you're working, you're working. What I mean by that is get rid of any distractions. So you don't want to be revising with the television on or with your phone next to you. Really, I don't think you should be revising with music on either, because you're not going to have that in the background in your exams, and you don't want to become dependent on that kind of background noise. So make sure that you are completely focused when you're working. And the same goes for your rest time as well. If you can, get yourself out of your working environment when you're resting, so that you are really escaping work in those breaks and fully concentrating on just having a complete break. As soon as you start mixing working and resting time, you're not doing either very efficiently. And it's very easy to sit at a desk for long periods and convince yourself that you're doing some work, when actually what you're doing is being a little bit distracted by social media or by music or by calls from friends during your working time. And that is not enabling you to be as efficient and as productive as you can be. So be honest with yourself. When you're working, you're working. When you're resting, you're resting. The next thing I'd say is please make time for exercise. Exercise is so important for our well-being at any time, but particularly during exams. It can lift our mood, it gets the blood flowing, it gives us a different perspective on things. So get out and have a walk, have a run, do whatever you can, and what you enjoy doing as well, to get some exercise into your day whenever you can. The next thing I would say is make sure that you're eating well. You want to avoid having lots of sugary foods that are going to give you a brief high of energy and then a big drop, because those periods of low energy will make you feel more down. They'll make those feelings of stress probably appear more easily, and it'll just make everything that you do that little bit harder. So eat well and drink lots of water. You want to have a bottle of water with you or a glass of water with you while you're revising all the time. Keep your body hydrated as much as you can. The next one I'd say is talk positively to yourself and to others about your revision. Try to avoid saying things like, oh, I haven't managed to do this yet, or I don't know anything about this topic. Reflect instead on the things that you do know and the things that you have achieved. It's really important to recognise those little successes. And one way of doing this is to set yourself really specific targets in each of your revision sessions. So when you get to the end of that hour or that 45 minutes, you know that you have learnt something that you didn't know when you sat down and started. Linked to that is my next point, which is don't waste time revising things that you already know. So you need to be honest with yourself again and work out which are the areas of the syllabus that you particularly need to focus on. There will be some things that you've already got locked in your memory. So don't waste time revising those things. Instead, get on with the things that you know you need to cover, because those are the areas where you feel less confident. The next thing, and there really are only 10, is try and think about being in the now. It's very easy when you're revising to think to yourself, oh my goodness, this exam is only this many days away. And to be really focused on how little time you feel that you have. You have plenty of time between now and then, most likely. So focus on the time that you have now. You've got that 45 minutes or that hour. Make the most of it. Don't spend that time worrying about something that isn't here yet. I've mentioned this one really briefly, but don't forget to reward yourself. So when you have achieved something in that revision slot, give yourself some kind of treat, whatever that might be. I've mentioned not having too much sugar, but it's okay to reward yourself with chocolate every now and again, or maybe with a phone call with a friend, or maybe your favourite TV programme, or a hot bubble bath, or whatever it is that makes you really happy. And finally, please remember to keep perspective. Exams are important, but they are not the be-all and the end-all. They obviously matter to some extent and within a particular context, but please remember that they're not life or death, and it's really important not to put yourself under so much pressure to believe that the results of these exams are going to mean everything. They are important, but remember, they're not life or death important. They're not worth losing sleep over. They're not worth getting so stressed about that you are getting yourself in a state about it. Okay, so try and keep perspective, think positive, stay in the now, be prepared, and plan your time so that when you get to those exams, you can really enjoy showing off what you know. I hope that something here has been helpful. Good luck. I wish you all the very best with the preparation for your exams, and I hope that something here has encouraged you and made you feel a little bit more positive about the exams that you have to sit. All the very best. Take care. Bye-bye.